Well, this one fell right into our lap. Joe Biden today falling, and I've just seen the fall for the first time. He went down like a flip-flop, man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, he flopped down. That is not a good look. That is not a good fall for an old guy. This gives permission now for a Democrat to step up and say, he's just too old. Can't do it. Can't do it. This is a bad fall. Supposedly he's all right. I mean, they wouldn't tell us if he wasn't. But he's also just not all right. This is not the fall of somebody. He shuffles along. The guy's...
Right.
He tried to cover for it and point to the bag and says that he slipped over a bag. The point is that you're supposed to step over the bag.
Yeah, nobody else fell over because there was a sandbag on the stage. I don't know why there was a sandbag on the stage, but I'm not in charge of the event. But, Ron Klain tweeted, POTUS stood on the stage and shook hands with graduates for almost 2 hours. He tripped over a sandbag as he moved to greet some guests. Calm down, you nervous Nellies.
Yeah, that ain't good. That ain't good. Sorry. God damn it. This computer is like really, really lagging badly. It's not. I have whatever button I hit, it's 26 seconds until it actually engages. So that was too loud. It's okay. But anyway, that was happening. So now what does this mean? Does this mean that Gavin Newsom suddenly says, you know what? I'm in. Because Marianne, what's her name? Williamson's in. RFK Jr.'s in. And he wouldn't be the only one at this point. I mean, his age is an issue. And the person, whoever gets the nomination is going to be running on that issue. Age is going to be the thing, right? If it's a primary versus Biden, Biden's proving he's old.
And in a general election too, right?
Yes.
It gives candidates who normally people might not be looking at, like RFK Jr. It gives, and Marianne Williamson, who's polling at a much higher percent than she was last time she ran, right? It gives them an opening to say, this is really important that we win this election because we can't have Trump, who's literally Hitler, and we can't have Ron DeSantis, who's worse than Trump. So it's very important that this is a winnable general election. And Biden is 80 years old, and he looks and acts 80 years old. There's a bunch of people on Twitter going, he's 80. It's so embarrassing that you guys are making fun of an 80-year-old for tripping. Anyone who's been around elderly people knows that sometimes that happens. Yeah, that's the point. That's the point, is that because 80-year-olds aren't able to keep up with the strenuous demands of being president, we don't usually make 80-year-olds president.
Right. And
he was older when he entered office this last time than any president has ever been when they've left office, and now he's running again. He's going to be almost, 82 when the election happens? Doesn't he turn 82
yes.
like a month later?
Yep.
Right? So that's really old.
Yeah, it's very old, and he's really old. He's diminished. He's physically diminished, and he's mentally diminished. So,
right.
So Democrats at this point, I mean, well, here's let me say. So if you're running Biden's campaign,
mm-hmm.
and you want him to win, you want him to stay in, you can say, like Ron Klain did, put a shine on it. Also, doesn't this give you an opportunity? Well, it doesn't because he's not hurt. But I was going to say, they need to find a reason, an opportunity why he gets to go back in the basement and run from the basement, because he can't be doing this day to day. And
well,
now
right, he can't be on
there,
the campaign trail falling over all the time.
Right, which means he can't be on the campaign trail. He's got to be on the campaign trail. Last time around, remember he jogged across the stage one time? I'm sure everybody was...
Well, holding their breath.
Yeah.
And the bike incident and the airplane stairs and, but yeah, he's not going to be able, there's no more COVID as an excuse. So he's not going to be able to do a campaign without leaving the house again like he did in 2020. And yeah, it is a big issue. I don't know if RFK can beat him just because I think, Dennis Kucinich is his campaign manager, and he's...
Is he really?
Yeah.
How is Mrs. Kucinich doing?
I don't know.
Do you not remember her?
No.
She was notable.
Notable in a guy way?
notable in an extremely hot, extremely 26 years old way.
Oh, that's what I meant in a guy way. Like,
Yes.
in a way that guys would note.
Right. Guys would note, yes.
Guys took note. I didn't note Dennis Kucinich's wife last time around. But anyway, he's in charge of his campaign. But I think that I don't know if he's the guy who's like mainstream enough to take out Biden in the primary, but I think the fact that he's polling at 20% right now and could win New Hampshire is extremely worrisome for the Democratic Party, because the sitting president should not be polling at 60% in their own primary.
But I thought Biden's not going to be in the primary.
In New Hampshire, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's everywhere. And he's, like I say, Biden's going to win all these other states. They might not even seat the New Hampshire delegates if they go ahead and hold their primary. But, you know, Biden will win the nomination against just Kennedy, right? But it's worrisome to you, I think, if you are a Democrat and you want to have a Democrat president next year, that the sitting president of the United States is barely topping 60% in a primary.
Yes. And also,
I mean, and that's in the primaries where he's competing. He's getting 60%. When he's not on the ballot in New Hampshire, who knows what he's going to get?
right. And I think also that means that
then
large independent donors are going to say, oh, wait a second, why am I exactly kicking this guy any money if he's going to get his ass kicked in the general?
Well,
You know,
right. Because that says a lot about the enthusiasm for and popularity of Joe Biden if that's the way the primary is going right now. So, you know, do they have a conversation and get him to bow out of the race so other people can get in? Do they, I mean, I don't know what you do if you're the DNC right now.
So who do they have? They've got Gavin Newsom.
I think that's the guy that if I were a Democrat, that's who I'd be saying this is our shot, is Gavin Newsom.
Yeah. You know what's funny? It's like, is it impossible to think that Cuomo would run?
No, it's not impossible. I don't think it's impossible at all.
I mean, he thinks he did a good job on COVID, and he'll be saying that. And he
Trump says he did a good job on COVID.
Right, I know. And Cuomo was a superstar there for a while, for the first half of COVID.
He still is. Do you think all the women who were happily fantasizing about whether or not he has pierced nipples are off-put by the fact that he groped chicks that worked for him?
Yeah.
Or do you think they like it?
Well,
because I think all the bored housewives who sat there and watched Cuomo all thirsty.
Are we allowed to tell the story that you related
with
to
Bloody
me today?
Marys in the morning?
Are we allowed to tell the story you told me today?
Sure, I'll tell the story. We know somebody who
the reason I'm segueing is because we're painting a picture of the women who will vote for Cuomo.
Of course. So we have couple friends that they have kids and they have a Trump sign in their yard, and the wife was out in the yard and this woman came up to her house and like stopped, and she kind of is like non-confrontational, so she kind of like moved out of the way in her own yard to like let her go by, and this woman goes to her, "Did you know that you're the only people in town with a Trump sign in your yard?"
Fantastic.
And she was like flabbergasted. She was like, "How could you have that in your yard? You have daughters." And she said like at first she couldn't even answer because she was just so shocked that somebody would like come up to her at her house and start telling her this.
So let me just say
this
something.
wasn't even someone she knows. It wasn't like a neighbor that she like.
Well, let me just say a couple things. First of all, that's an idiotic thing to say. You have daughters. Well, she's not. You don't vote for a babysitter for your daughters for president.
And if I did, I sure wouldn't vote for Biden.
Right. You have daughters. And here's the second thing is that lady does not really care because she's going to vote for Biden. So she's the kind of person who will vote for Cuomo in a second.
Of course.
Because it's fine. You're allowed to be a not pederast, a
Pervert.
if you're a Democrat.
Of course
Which is
you
good
are.
for Newsom too, because he's got some interesting baggage too. So but it also goes to show that these people, the woman really didn't care that our friend had daughters. She's just emotionally triggered by the idea that Trump is anywhere, because she's built in her mind this.
She was like, "How do you even know
She's
I
built
have
in this
daughters?"
mind, her backstory,
watching me,
right.
like
She's built in her mind this story, this fictional story of the end of days Donald Trump thing, where he's the worst everything at everything and always was, and it makes me crazy, and I hate him, and F Melania too. Don't give her any magazine because these people are emotionally broken.
Well, yeah, and so that was like the upshot of the whole thing is, our
what
friend
was she
said
drinking today, our friend?
Kombucha.
I gotta find out something about that.
So anyway, or kombucha, I don't know how you say it. But yeah. So anyway, so that was like the upshot of the whole thing, was that she was like, I didn't like ask for your input. Screw you. Like, go away.
Right.
And but then her husband went and talked to the couple also.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially said, like, this really upset my wife. Like, why did you do this? Like, and the husband and the woman both said, like, oh, like, I realized right away when I did it, I shouldn't have done it. I'm sorry. Like, I was just so triggered by the sign. I like couldn't help myself. I
have
had
a question for you,
yeah.
Nels. If some lady comes after you, I don't have to go confront the husband, do I? I don't like my chances. Depending. Probably. You know what? I'll just get Beth's husband to do it.
Okay. The two of you can go together.
Chip is more intimidating than I am. And he's strong and young. He'll do it. I need you, Chip.
Mm-hmm. One time you defended me.
I
Remember
did.
when
I don't like my chances that day either.
The day that the person yelled at me for taking too long to buckle the kids in the car while I was pregnant because they were trying to wait for our space.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy yelled at me, and you got out and said something to him?
Yeah, I did. That was a rare moment of manliness. Once a decade or so, it flashes out.
It kicks in.
Yeah. So let's get back to them Biden then. If you're Team Kamala, why not just say demand right now? Say start the narrative that I have been behind the scenes helping with stuff. Behind the scenes, helping with the Inflation Reduction Act. Behind the scenes,
they did
working.
Just come out with more stuff on the home appraisers today. She's out with the new
give
rule.
Her victories for the CHIPS Act, bipartisan. Give her just.
If I were Kamala, I would not want credit for the border right now.
No, she's not gonna. No. But say that she was always working on root causes. Just lie. You just make up a total facade, because all you need is that lie to carry you in to the general, where if you're Kamala, ideally you'll go against Trump, and he looks like a menacing psychopath out there to every single suburban woman in the country, and then you win.
Yeah.
But the Democrats are scared to use her because, first of all, she's not fully staffed. People won't work for her. People who want to get their foot in the door in Washington, D.C. don't want to start with the vice president. This is like a historic, it's a serious thing. Nobody wants to work with her. She is a nightmare.
Well, yeah, because you do all this work to prep her for stuff, and then she doesn't do the homework, looks like an idiot, and then is mad at you.
Yes.
So who wants that in their life?
Yeah. So I don't know how it'll shake out. I know that the Biden's fall, I mean, if he does it again, he's fallen off the plane several times. But this is a full-on digger, this thing this morning, today. So, this just looks bad. Obviously, Jill is not going to budge. She's going to ride this Biden machine all the way as far as it goes.
And the Biden family, that's like, this is how they all make money, is by being related and around Joe Biden. So, this isn't like nobody, and that's why it's so terrible, is because it's like abusive at this point that they keep forcing him out there. to do this stuff when he's
Yes.
clearly like not up to it.
Trump responded magnanimously. Did you hear this?
I did see it.
Not bad. You like to see it. He generally, in these positions, is
Yeah, actually, one of his finest moments was when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, and they had him like getting out of the rally, about to get on the plane
Right.
or whatever, and he was talking. And what was in the back? Was it like Elton John or something was in the background?
What's it?
There was like some background music. I forget, but yeah. And he said, "I'm hearing it now for the first time." About Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Do you remember this?
Yes, I do. It was a good cut, actually.
Are you gonna play him?
He's at the Air Force Academy. He actually fell down. Well, I hope he wasn't hurt. I hope he wasn't hurt. But it's the whole thing is, look, the whole thing is crazy. You got to be careful about that. You got to be careful about that because you don't want that. Even if you have to tiptoe down a ramp, you got to
Ooh, is that self-effacing?
He's at the Air Force.
I think it is. I think that's what Trump talking about when he was at the Army-Navy game. And
Yeah, and
that ramp.
everybody gave him a hard time because he
But you know
was
what?
very
But
careful
you know
about
what-
his footing on the ramp.
you know
Which
what-
ramps
yes,
can be dangerous.
But you know what Trump's really meaning here? He's meaning you got to be careful about that because you look weak if you fall. You
Yeah.
look like a donkey. Mm-hmm. And that's why he'd rather tiptoe down that ramp because I am not going down looking like a fool. That is total lizard brain Trump.
Yeah, no, he knows. He has really good political instincts, especially for stuff like that. That's why it was so powerful when he like got out of having COVID and he went up on the White House balcony and like ripped off the mask. And it like
Remember how upset the media was?
oh,
Oh
that
my
made
goodness.
them so
He put
mad.
the lives of the Secret Service at stake, at risk, all for a political stunt. Oh.
That was
Oh, by the way, are we allowed to talk about the fact that we're not that we're suspended from YouTube?
Yeah, we're suspended from YouTube.
Right, and because I said what? This is
Because you said you were talking about people. We were talking about conspiracy theories in general and how like any conspiracy theory at this point is believable, including like people who believe that the Earth is flat or that like dinosaurs are made up. Because you just like can't trust anybody anymore, and all our institutions suck, and just enforce ideology with zero regard for the truth. And you said that you don't like, even though you don't really like think the election was stolen in 2020, that like you don't know, and like if people say it, then like whatever, like you don't know if it was stolen.
and that was close enough.
Yeah,
That's
you're not allowed to allege widespread fraud in the 2020 election. Which
I'm
I
not
was like,
allowed
that's
to-
what I said in my appeal. I was like, I don't think that we alleged there was widespread fraud in the 2020
So I have a
election.
question for you. Are you allowed to allege fraud in the 2016 election?
Yeah.
Okay, that one's okay.
Yeah. That's
From now on, guys, a little code between us all. I'm going to start saying 2016, but I mean 2020.
Okay.
Okay? And by the way, even though I don't see proof of widespread fraud in the 2016 election,
Yeah.
if they found out tomorrow that there was in the 2016 election, I would not be surprised one freaking iota. Now that I've seen what people are willing to do to prevent Donald Trump from being president, it's funny. You know what's interesting? The conspiracy of the intel agencies working with Democrats, working with Russians, working with whatever, to take Trump down is actually bigger than widespread election fraud, which did not happen in 2020 but happened in
Right.
2016. It is. It's a bigger freaking thing, of course. But the problem is now that there's no media left. So, well, there's almost no media left. There are people who are talking and saying things, and people are discovering, I think, more and more are hitting the wall in the Truman Show ocean and saying, "Wait a second here." And I
Well,
noticed
right.
it mostly in. I'm going to say a phrase that makes me want to harm me. I see it mostly in the podcast space. Is that podcasters are just saying things like Tom Segura was on with we maybe played it yesterday with Tim Dillon and Segura's wife. I forget her name, but and I think Segura is like a lefty, but everything they were saying was verboten. It's stuff you're not allowed to say, but they were kicking the tires, just kind of saying things. 'Cause they've
Well, yeah,
noticed.
there's podcasting is one area, and this is why like Joe Rogan upsets people, right? Podcasting is one area where it is still possible to really say whatever you want.
Yeah.
And that's not true everywhere. You know, you can say whatever you want and your show can stay like on Apple Podcasts pretty much and places like that. Whereas, you know, for any like YouTube kind of thing. So, and this comes up too. So Matt Walsh and the Daily Wire they worked out a whole thing with Twitter, how they were going to put up What is a Woman for a Twitter premiere today. And, but they were promoting it with clips, and Twitter is flagging the clips as, dangerous, hateful content that's limited in reach and can't be shown to other people. So they said, like, what do you mean you're going to let us live stream this? And Twitter reviewed the content and was saying, like, these like couple of clips in it are problematic and we can't like let them. So they got upset. They publicly said all this stuff that Twitter's not letting them do it, and essentially said at 8 p.m. we're putting What is a Woman on this platform for free. We're showing it live for everybody on this platform at 8 p.m. tonight, and Twitter can decide if they're a free speech platform or not. And Elon Musk essentially said it's a mistake by a bunch of people at Twitter. We're not blocking What is a Woman. It's, he said, I use people's pronouns to be polite. Like I use the names people tell me to use, but,
Right.
It's not, it's at most rude. It's not offensive. It's, it is what it is. And it shouldn't be limited. But they essentially said that their clips are still being limited. And
Are they really still?
yeah, they're
Is
still being flagged. And so Elon Musk responded again. So basically, did I send it to us? I don't know if I did. But Matt Walsh and Jeremy Boring and stuff are saying this is still being throttled by Twitter. And Elon Musk had to respond again, and he did say that it actually will be somewhat limited in reach because it's going to be like marked as not advertisable content, because Elon Musk said that, well, we have to allow the advertisers to choose what content their stuff is shown with. Right? So that's only fair. Like if the advertisers don't want their stuff on What is a Woman, then like we have to mark the video that it can't be advertised on or whatever, right? I do think that that's a bit of a cop-out. I have to say. So Matt Walsh responded to him. He said, thanks for the response, Elon Musk. Does this mean we can post the film with full reach and everything else we originally agreed to? Also, the What is a Woman trend keeps disappearing from the trends list. Is it still being blacklisted? And Elon Musk replied, it will be advertising restricted, as advertisers have the right to decide what content their ads appear with, which will impact reach to some degree. So, but I have a question about that, because is it a la carte for advertisers? Because saying it's advertising restricted makes it sound to me like it doesn't meet their policies for stuff to advertise with, which like that is a choice by Twitter, kind of. Like I know advertisers don't want their stuff shown on like Nazi content, but if I'm a Christian, can I choose not to have my ads shown on anything that like promotes pride or gay stuff in the month of June?
That's a good question.
I mean, do advertisers have the right to decide what content their ads appear with, or only some advertisers have the right to decide for some certain content? Right? Because if it's just Twitter and the advertisers get to decide what's going to be limited in reach, like I would advertise on What is a Woman in a second, right? But there's other stuff that I wouldn't want to advertise on. And so I guess the question is like, is that is it still not meeting a Twitter policy that's keeping it from having the same reach it would otherwise have? How detailed are advertisers able to make that request not to show their stuff with certain content? You know, I understand you don't want to show it with like violent content or, you know, pornography or
Right.
like, I mean, there are things I think, or stuff with swears, for example, like if you're advertising a kid's thing, you don't want it shown with anything adult, something
Right,
like
of
that.
course, obviously.
Like there's things like that people agree to, but I think that but like with the trans stuff, like I say, like, is this a policy that only goes in one direction? Because Elon's answer left me with a lot more questions that I have now after that, beyond like what it answered for me anyway.
Yeah, no, I think it is. I think it is. And by the way, the trans thing, of course, they get special protections. It's not going to be something that's looked at in an.
But I do think it's smart of the Daily Wire to, you know, challenge Twitter to stand up for their free speech mantle that they claim to have. You know, to test the limits of it and see what they'll allow and not allow. They should air the whole movie. And I mean, Elon's saying the reach is going to be limited, but how limited and how much? Like, I think that's sort of the question. But I think it's one of those, like, we'll have to see how it goes things.
By the way, the movie is wholly inoffensive. It's
there's
just
nothing
brilliant.
offensive about it.
It's just brilliant. Is the problem.
And this is the problem for leftists, is most of the most damaging to the trans cause stuff that happens in the movie is all leftists talking. People who support all the trans stuff and that ideology. It's all them saying what they think and sounding ridiculous. It's not Matt Walsh saying something offensive to offend them.
No.
What's dangerous about the movie is all the stuff they say. That's what people don't like.
Correct.
So, I don't know. I think, you know, things like that movie are very dangerous for them, basically. I do want to, since this is now a Taylor Swift Eras Tour wrap-up show that we have, I do want to touch on Taylor Swift.
Something so interesting here.
What's so interesting?
I was just looking on this computer for my Matt Walsh
cuts.
Mm-hmm. And I've got, I see them all here. Matt Walsh, What Is a Woman, MP3, etc. Maybe because this computer is so hot, that's why what you guys hear. But hold on.
Okay.
Let me see. The file type says PDF.
For your Matt Walsh cuts?
Yes.
I don't know why that would be.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. What a mess.
Everything okay over there?
No, it's not. But forget it. You guys heard the Matt Walsh cuts already. We're just these computers. Yeah. This room is so hot that nothing is running.
Yeah. But anyway, the Taylor Swift debacle continues because Taylor Swift fans have now written an open letter to Taylor Swift using the hashtag #SpeakUpNow, which is that's a play on one of her album titles is Speak Now.
God, she must hate her fans.
So hashtag #SpeakUpNow. Dear Taylor, as concerned fans, we are writing to express our disappointment regarding recent events. You've been recently seen with
Don't lie to us. We saw you.
Anything that starts off with that, so you've been recently seen with. You have been recently seen with and have welcomed to your stage Matty Healy, the frontman of the 1975. I thought it was 1975. I guess it's the 1975. Shows what I know about him and his band. He has been involved.
You're not a Healy head?
I guess not. He has been involved in acts and controversies that deeply trouble us. From engaging in racist remarks, making offensive jokes, and admitting to watching degrading pornography in which people of color are being humiliated and assaulted. He said he'd like to watch black women be
in pornography?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Admitting to watching degrading pornography in which people of color are being humiliated and assaulted, his actions contribute to the perpetuation of hate, stereotypes, and objectification.
So it's interesting. He's guilty of watching the wrong pornography.
Yes.
Okay.
Admitting to
That's
watching
just
the
like
wrong
saying,
pornography.
don't you have daughters?
Making racist remarks. The person that he made or laughed at people's racist remarks about on a podcast is Ice Spice, who Taylor Swift just featured in a song and has had on stage with her on the tour. So if she's not upset, like, I don't know why all Taylor Swift's white fans are upset about it. I don't really get it, but okay. The perpetuation of hate, stereotypes, and objectification which targets and hurts some people from the Jewish, Black, Chinese, Hawaiian, Inuit, LGBTQ plus communities, as well as women. While individuals have the right to make their own choices and form relationships, but do they, though?
Apparently, except for one.
But do they have the right to? While individuals have the right to make their own choices and form relationships, we believe that it is essential for those in the public eye to take a stand against discrimination and hold themselves and their associates accountable. Your voice holds tremendous power, and right now your silence is palpable. This silence sends a message of indifference, particularly to the fans who have supported you. Racism, anti-Semitism, and any form of discrimination have no place in our society. As fans, we believe in the power to inspire positive change, promote inclusivity, and educate others. Staying silent about action. We believe in your power to inspire. You need to do. We believe that you have some things to do on your list, Taylor Swift. I don't have anything to do, but because I'm a fan of you, I'm giving you a punch list of things you need to do to combat racism, starting by dumping your boyfriend.
Jesus. What a country. What a country. Just nuke us now.
Staying silent about actions that perpetuate hatred and contribute to systemic oppression undermines the progress that was made towards equality and understanding. We urge you to reflect on the impact of your own and your associates' behavior and engage in genuine self-reflection. True change requires more than a simple apology.
Oh, no. She's got to kill him with an ice pick.
It necessitates a commitment to education, unlearning harmful beliefs, and actively dismantling systems of oppression that perpetuate racism and discrimination. Open dialogue with the communities affected by these actions is crucial. Listen to their experiences, learn from their perspectives, and amplify their voices. I believe she has the person he insulted supposedly on stage with her on her tour. Speaking of listening to amplifying people's voices. Literally, the person most insulted by Maddie Healy has her voice being amplified by Taylor Swift at this moment. Seek guidance from organizations.
Who the freak is writing this manifesto?
Her fans.
Wait a second. This is a list of demands.
Yeah. This is what Taylor needs to do.
Okay.
Seek guidance from organizations and individuals who have dedicated their lives to combating racism, anti-Semitism, and
by the way, Taylor Swift has made her way
bigotry.
into a Tom Shattuck pre-recorded message, a promotional commercial.
Oh, really? In the background
for an Awaken 180 slot. You do want to hear it?
Sure.
Here, I'm going to do some actual radio script reading. The Awaken 180 open house in April was such a hit. They're doing another one next Tuesday, but this time at their West Hartford location in Blueback Square. Listen to this. Awaken 180 will be giving Taylor Swift Eras Tour goodies like shirts and tote bags away while you're there. Enter your Look at that. I now have a correlation with Taylor Swift.
Well, it sounds like then you've got some work to do.
Oh, I'm coming back with I will not be there, by the way, in case you're in Canada. Canada. In case you're in Canada, I could be there.
No, but I mean, since you're now associated with Taylor Swift, you're going to have to do some work.
I have to put the work in?
Yeah, some anti-discrimination work, because you're now also associated with Maddie Healy and everything he's ever said on a podcast.
Are they going to... I have to show my porn history?
But they're not done. Listen to this. We believe in the capacity for growth and transformation.
How benevolent of them. That is...
By acknowledging this letter, Demonstrating genuine remorse and committing to personal growth and education, you have the opportunity to make amends and contribute positively to society. Use your platforms responsibly and intentionally. Advocate for inclusivity, celebrate diversity, and promote empathy and understanding. Challenge harmful ideologies and inspire your followers to join you in creating a more just and equitable world. Change takes time, but we hope to see you actively engage in this process of personal and social transformation. Let this be the turning point where you become a force for positive change and a catalyst for healing. Sincerely, your fans.
My goodness.
And it's not just her, too. I'm not kidding when, like, if you claim to be associated with Taylor Swift in some way, like, you have to do reflection, too. Just like the activist lady who reflected, but not enough to give up her tickets to the Taylor Swift show.
Exactly. And
But
this
she
one,
put the
this
work
teacher
in.
who is
Here's a teacher
sick.
whose students are giving her guff about it.
Don't you love Taylor Swift? She's dating a racist. Then I got accused of being racist. And this is why it matters for everyone out there saying that this doesn't matter and it doesn't affect
It actually doesn't, though.
her personal life. I don't care if they're dating or not. He's up on her stage, okay? And he is trending right now. This story is trending.
Mostly because you guys are psychos.
Is this her manager?
Of dating a racist is trending. Doesn't matter if it's true. I've researched a lot. I've seen a lot. I read his quotes. I read how they've been taken out of context. I read the good things he's done. It doesn't matter. He has said hurtful things. And it makes my students now feel some type of way about me. Of course, I dissociated.
She dissociated.
Imagine, so now if you just like Taylor Swift, you have to apologize and put the work in and research Maddie Healy quotes so that you can know how to feel about it. And that's why it matters who Taylor Swift dates. Because my students are now accusing me of being racist. Because I like you. No, it doesn't work like this. People date people. They're not responsible for everything everybody they ever date has said on a podcast. And the type of porn that they watch.
Like an angry tribunal of Taylor Swift fans making demands of her.
You moved the camera, by the way.
Over
it's
here?
okay. Don't worry about it.
How did he move it?
You kicked the cord and pulled it down.
Oh, I did? Should I put it up?
No, just don't. You kicked it totally. At some point since last night, it was totally unplugged under the desk.
Really? Mm-hmm. It's not as operational that way, is it?
Mm.
So, like that angry Taylor Swift tribunal, I got some bad news for you.
Uh-oh, what's wrong?
There are no chat messages.
Oh, no.
It's time for the Lexington Yacht Bunny to lecture and harangue the chat message leavers. Alice, go ahead. I know you have it in you. I'm going to need you to do a little bit better, Danny from Billerica. Tommy in New Hampshire, where have you been? Come on now. Tim in Canton.
Well, the messages
Why should a heart attack prevent you from leaving a message that makes me happy? Like Leah Thomas competing against girls. It makes me happy to have chat messages.
I do like chat messages. The ones last night were great. That was like
Yeah.
my favorite chat in a while. So maybe everybody's just resting on their laurels from
Stephen
their
Merrimack. This is, you know what this is? This is a Stephen Merrimack boycott we've got going on now.
I feel like both Stephen Merrimack and Tim and Cannon are boycotting right now. It's been like 2 days.
What do we
since
call this
Tim and
episode?
Cannon
Do we do a play on words about Biden taking a digger?
I don't know.
What do you think? Let's go. It's a creative meeting. I'm watching Mad Men now. I need ideas. Ideas.
I don't have that, but unless Biden does something soon, people are going to have to start paying their student loans again this summer.
I know.
The pause is running out.
For the first
The COVID emergency is coming to an end.
I love that there are all these these tutorials, and this is how you should approach this. You should approach this.
Here's what to know to get ready to start paying back loans, writes the Hill.
Ease into it. Ease into it.
Don't go too crazy.
Do I get one of these for the $10,000 that he wanted us to pay for people? Do I get here's what you should know when you're going to pay your neighbor's kid student loans, Tom?
No. Betsy Mayotte, the president of the Institute of Student Loan Advisors, encourages people not to make any payments until the pause is ended. Put what you would have paid into a savings account. then you've maintained the habit of making the payment, but you're earning a little bit of interest as well. So anyway, it goes on with financial advice about the student loans, but yeah.
All right, Elsa, I want your prediction then. Before we go, what is your
Okay.
prediction on what happens in the wake of Joe Biden taking a digger?
I don't think anything big happens yet. I think they're going to push the line of like, oh, come on, like anybody could trip over a sandbag. I told you in the car, I think they're going to try and, I almost just said roll out the narrative, but then I realized that sounds like a pun, and I'm not trying to make a pun. They're going to try and come out with a narrative that like, well, FDR was president in a wheelchair and he was a great president. Because they all like FDR still for some reason that I can't figure out.
Of course, he died in office, which isn't great.
Yeah, but in his third term, so, or whatever.
Yeah, there was a bit of a pitched battle going on, I think, around that time.
So I guess that means that we're over.
We don't have to be. You got anything else?
Well, you said, oh, oops, when you did it, so.
Oh, it was oops. Yeah, sorry. I'm going to
That's
start
fine.
the oops again.
But no, I think I got to go pick up our daughter.
That's
from
correct.
her game. So, but it's been great, you guys.
Jungle, her daughter, Marissa. You know that song?
No, but
Jungle.
I'm assuming, is that
What?
Eddie Vedder? Your
It
Eddie
is.
Vedder, of your Eddie
That's
Vedder
right.
impression? I just recognize. It's a good one, honey.
Yeah.
It's very funny. Anyway, leave chat messages. That's at burnbarrelpodcast.com. I appreciate all of you, and have a great weekend.